You can replace your ab wheel to gymnastics rings and build a shredded six-pack more safely and efficiently. If you invest in equipment anyways, gymnastics rings worth a lot more. With the ab wheel, you can only do that single move, but with the rings, you can train all muscles on your body so effectively that you can't do with any other equipment. But let's stay with this move only and take a look why using gymnastics rings will be so much better for you. First of all, you can build up the exercise much more gradually. With the ab wheel, you need to start in the kneeling position immediately, but you can set the rings to different heights and do the exercise in a higher body angle, which is way less intensive, more beginner friendly, so you can learn the exercise more safely. Another important benefit is stability. The stability of the ab wheel depends on several factors, including the condition of the equipment, the surface on which you are performing the exercise, and your coordination, specifically whether you can steer the wheel straight. Since the rings are suspended, as soon as you put load on them, the straps will be tight and you can move on a stable path. It's easier to do the exercise right and focus on what matters. You can also set the distance of the rings for better stability. However, the ab wheel is pre-made, so you cannot change it. Friction is also a significant factor, which in case of the ab wheel depends on the movement of the wheel itself, as well as the surface on which you're performing the exercise. These factors determine how smoothly you can do the exercise. In the case of gymnastics rings, this only depends on the suspension, which is usually on a bar, and this allows a smoother execution due to the lower friction. With that being said, let's see how to build up the ring rollout so you can work out safely and build a shredded six-pack. The first progression is the standing ring rollout. Set the rings to hip height and stand below the suspension. Grab the rings and place them in front of your body with locked elbows. Contract your abs and glutes, do posterior pelvic tilt, then lean forward while keeping your elbows locked. Lean forward until your upper arms get next to your ears. Maintain tight core and posterior pelvic tilt, then push back yourself to the starting position. You can do the exercise in hip width straddle if you can tilt your hips better like that. You can do dynamic reps in the 5-15 range or do static holds for 10 to 30 seconds. Step to the next progression if you can do at least 10 reps or 20 seconds hold. The second exercise is the 45-degree ring rollout. Here, set the rings to mid-thigh height and get into the push-up position so that the straps are perpendicular to the ground. In the starting position, pay attention to the depressed and abducted scapulas, locked elbows, tight core, and posterior pelvic tilt. Lean forward until your upper arms get next to your ears, maintain tight core and posterior pelvic tilt, then push back yourself to the starting position. You can do the exercise in hip width straddle here as well if you can tilt your hips better like that. You can do dynamic reps in the 5-15 range or static hold for 10 to 30 seconds. Step to the next progression if you can do at least 10 reps or 15 seconds hold. The third progression is the kneeling ring rollout. We can consider this as a final progression, since in the kneeling position you can load your muscles really efficiently but still perform the exercise a lot more safely than doing it on your feet with full body length. This is the equivalent of the ab wheel rollout performed in the kneeling position. Set the rings low with having enough distance from the ground so you can grab the rings properly. Get into kneeling support so that the straps are perpendicular to the ground. Depress and abduct your scapulas in the starting position, lock your elbows, contract your abs and glutes, maintain posterior pelvic tilt. This might be a bit more difficult in the kneeling position. Lean forward until your upper arms get next to your ears, maintain tight core and posterior pelvic tilt, then push back yourself to the starting position. Here, you can also do dynamic reps in the 5-15 range or static hold for 10 to 30 seconds. Step to the next progression if you can do at least 10 reps or 15 seconds hold. The final progression is the full ring rollout. This doesn't mean that everyone has to reach this point. This execution is extremely difficult. If you start without the proper strength, the risk of injury is really high. Reaching the end position or start moving backward, it is common to have the hips sink, suddenly exposing the lumbar spine to extreme stress. Only start this exercise if you have completed the previous steps. However, as I mentioned, you can perfectly train your abs with the previous progression as well. Set the rings low the same way as you did for the previous progression. Get into push-up position so the straps are perpendicular to the ground. Depress and abduct your scapulas in the starting position, lock your elbows, contract your abs and glutes, maintain posterior pelvic tilt. Lean forward until your upper arms get next to your ears, maintain tight core and posterior pelvic tilt, then push back yourself to the starting position. You can do this exercise in hip width straddle if you can tilt your hips better like that. Do 5 to 10 reps depending on your level. If you want to perform static holds, I recommend to do the long push-up hold that I made a whole video about. The long push-up hold is another great alternative of the abwheel rollout that requires no equipment at all. You can find that video on the end screen. If you want to build a shredded physique like gymnasts have with zero to minimal equipment from home, doing a full joint preparation and basic strength program, as well as gymnastic skills with a complete system, click the link below, download the Gymnastics Method app in the App Store or Google Play Store, become a member, and get full access to all programs, tutorials, daily workouts, and much more. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you haven't watched my other video I mentioned, check it out on the end screen now.